Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here with another review of the CX20, Cheerson CX20. This has two features that I'd like to go into a little more detail with today, and that's position hold and altitude hold. And particularly with altitude hold, there are some safety considerations that you need to keep in mind for the quadcopter regarding elevation. And with that in mind, that's why we're up here again today. I'm going to demonstrate what the difference is with altitude and elevation, and how you need to keep in mind of obstacles in the way of this quadcopter if you put it into altitude hold. The ground might just come up to meet you. Now, this quadcopter doesn't know that there's a hill here. It knows we're going to take off from this altitude, this elevation here, and it's going to equate that as the altitude at takeoff. But as we fly around, and say I go down in that gully and I put altitude hold and try to fly back, it'll smack right into this hill that we're on right here, because it doesn't know to climb back up to reach the top of this hill. And I want to demonstrate that. But again, we're going to start off with position hold first on this flight. Let's just bind this quadcopter and go into a flight with it, and I'll demonstrate these features. Okay, we have a wind coming from our position off to the left here. I'm going right now to unlock the quadcopter. We have the GPS locked already. Quadcopter's unlocked, and what I'm going to do is go right into position hold mode by going from 0 and setting the dip switch, the right dip switch, to 1. So we're in position hold mode, and away we go. So right now we got this wind here, and it's going to hold its place in the air here. It's fighting that wind to hold its place. So let's push forward on the pitch. See, it fights that wind and maintains that altitude that I set it to. That wind is really picking up, but it's doing its best to fight the wind. See? We got a real strong breeze coming up this hill, and it's fighting it. Let's send it out a little bit further. Let's say over here to the right, straight in front of us. And it's holding that position in space, and trying to hold that same altitude too. But let's go down a little. Let's reduce the throttle a bit and decrease elevation. Right, a little bit more, a little bit lower. Yeah, I'm going to do elevation hold, demonstrating it using altitude hold. But again, this fights the wind to hold that position. It's a very strong wind. Let's go over here. Hold that position there, and it's doing its best to hold it with the wind, using the GPS coordinates, or the GPS. And it's trying to maintain the same altitude, but it's fighting quite a bit of a breeze here. But it's doing a good job. Let me rotate while it's there, pointing toward me. Let's go up a little bit higher. Give it a little more throttle. Well, over there. But now it's bouncing around in the sky again. We got lots of wind here, and that's because of the wind. It's doing its darndest to do it, to hang on there. There's a big updraft there it just had. Let's see if the motors will bring it back down again. Boy, it must be a big updraft there. But it's holding on to that position. Okay, I'm reducing throttle, bringing it down. Now I'm going back to manual mode, 0-0. Let's fly like a toy quadcopter now. Let's bring it back home. Now, next thing I want to do is demonstrate altitude hold, and why you got to worry about altitude hold, particularly with this elevation here. I'm going to go down a little bit lower into this gully. And we're going to switch to one altitude hold, which is 1, 2. 1, 2. Now it's going to maintain this altitude. I don't have to mess with the throttle. I'm just messing with the yaw. But if I keep going at this altitude, I'm going to smack into this hill. So right now I'm going back to 0-0. And bring it above that hill. Okay, so it doesn't know about this hill. It doesn't know about the objects in the way. So you need to be very careful using these position hold and altitude hold about objects. Return to home, same thing. If I hit return to home at this altitude, I'm not sure that it would actually climb up above this hill before returning to home. And I don't want to try it right now because of the wind. Actually, let's go downwind and try it. Let's see what it does. Okay, going to return to home. Does it climb up above the hill and come back? Or above my elevation? Yeah, it does. It's climbing. So for return to home, if you go below your elevation, it will climb back up to a certain altitude and return. So return to home, it seems to know about the elevation that I took off from. So it did climb back up again to come back to its takeoff position. Okay, I'm going back to manual mode, and my lights are flashing. I'm coming back because my lights are flashing. And that's my demonstration of altitude hold and position hold. I really need to level this off before landing on the side of a hill. Okay, that's my first demonstration of altitude hold and position hold. We had a rough landing there. I didn't like that at all. But, okay, let me go to lock, make sure it's locked. Okay, that light's flashing. It automatically knows to lock it. So what did we learn? We learned that in altitude hold, it doesn't know about elevation or objects in the way. So if you're flying altitude hold, remember to account for that. Position hold, it tried its best to hold its position with the wind, but you know, if it's very windy like today, it's not going to work very well. And finally, for return to home, if you are at a lower elevation than you took off from, it does climb above that to, I don't know what the predetermined altitude was. It looked like 50 feet above the takeoff point elevation, and then it starts its return to home. So, hope you enjoyed this review. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out with the Cheerson CX20.